They took this dude straight down into the tunnel system where it wouldn't even stand a chance to fight
There's
back.
no way. They're ganging up on him, bro.
Second.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out this really interesting looking video that recently popped up on my feed called 1000 Ants versus Natural Disasters. Let's check it out. Alright, so I gotta say, ants are probably one of my favorite insects. Just the fact that they can carry 50 times their body weight, it's pretty fire.
Ants are known for their insane ability to work together to accomplish impossible tasks. So I was wondering what would happen if I put my 1000 ant colony up against natural disasters. Would they actually be able to stop and survive them by working together?
Well, that's exactly why I gathered up 1,000 ants. And I have the 5 coolest natural disasters planned, starting with the most iconic, an earthquake. Yup.
So this is just basically bullying ants to see if they'll survive. Okay, that makes sense.
And I went out and bought a realistic earthquake simulating platform.
What?
If I go and press this button,
You can-
whatever on top starts to shake so much, which
Bro.
recreates a real earthquake. Oh,
You
dang.
can
What I'll
buy
actually be
that?
putting on here is this 2D ant nest and filling it up with the 1000 ants.
Wait,
of course.
that's
Basically, these ants will
crazy.
dig out tunnels along the glass like my last ant video, but throughout that process, the earthquake machine will lightly go off to gently collapse the tunnels while they
Bro,
continue
that's
digging.
so
That way, I can show
mean.
you how ants evolve to survive earthquakes
That
in
is
the
so
wild,
mean.
and if they pass, they move on to the more and more interesting disasters.
Okay, this is
now,
cool.
as you could
This is
probably
cool.
imagine, the ants wasted no time to get to work. Ants are so tiny, and while a single ant would basically be able to make no progress whatsoever, when you have a 1000 ants, things are done at an insanely rapid pace as workers started picking up grains of sand along the glass so each tunnel could be formed. It's so cool to see time-lapse footage of these tunnels being made.
That
because
is
they
really
literally
cool.
dug out this entire amount of sand in only like 6 hours.
So I'm
Wait,
wondering
6
what's gonna happen
hours?
to these
That's
tunnels
actually
when I turn
insane.
on this earthquake machine.
Now, I started by turning it on the least powerful setting.
Okay, it's shaking super slowly. Now, it's my goal to make sure not a single ant is harmed in this video. I just want to show you how insane smart they are and how they will...
How you gonna really know if they're not harmed? Like, really? 1000 ants, you're gonna keep track of every single one? Okay.
overcome all these disasters in the wild.
But even this very light shaking was definitely felt amongst the colony. The workers along the top area immediately knew something was off, and they started frantically running around, as you can see. And when we take a look down under the nest where all the tunnels are, you can see those ants were acting similarly. Ants know during earthquakes, their tunnels have the chance to collapse, so all of them were being extremely careful. Very interestingly enough, in this room here, many of the ants were gathering up on the walls of the room to add an extra layer of support so it wouldn't collapse. But of course, when an earthquake happens in the wild, a part of the nest is bound to collapse, so it wasn't long until this happened. A bit of the sand here started to fall, completely blocking off this tunnel. I immediately turned off the machine to make sure the ants wouldn't be too stressed out while they had to commence a rescue mission. Because as you can see, while most of the ants were able to squeeze...
Bro, this reminds me of those terrifying cave videos where they're like... those cave divers are trying to go through the most narrow spots possible and they get caught in there. Oh, that freaks me out. That actually freaks me out like crazy.
out like this guy here. At least one ant was partially trapped in this collapsed tunnel, but amazingly it looked as though one of the ants was already picking up some of the sand from the collapsed portion to clear it out. Yeah, literally so quickly the ants excavated the entire...
It's so impressive how they work
tunnel,
together
and that's
so
where it was a
well. I
perfectly
wish
functional
humans could
area
do
to
that,
walk through
bro.
again. And funnily enough, some of the ants even started to walk in and slowly dig out the area where the sand had just collapsed from to make a new tunnel there.
Wow,
bro, they're so
just
smart.
completed this natural disaster. They are so smart. But the natural disasters are
just said
designed
that.
to get more interesting as the video goes on. So next up, we got a sandstorm. Yes, ants, you heard that right, and this will be taking place in the separate desert enclosure.
Yes, we need to have a separate tank so that way I can make this sand blow around like crazy to replicate a real sandstorm.
This is cool.
And along with this blow dryer, I've also got all these fans that clamp to the walls, and I can just set up to constantly blow the ants back.
For the ants to be able to pass this disaster, they're gonna have to do something like grab onto each other's bodies or something to be able to push past this intense wind.
This will be really
And if they
interesting
can
to
make it to
see.
this canyon, climb up it, and make it to the Terra Green leaf bowl, then they're gonna get a ton of seeds, which is their favorite food.
All right, let me just hook up this.
That's cool, they get a
tubing
treat at
like
the end.
so,
That's pretty
and
cool.
The ants should start coming. Let's go.
Yup, and this tubing is set up so once an ant enters the disaster, they can't get out. That way, we'll progress
Yeah, you gave them the old cockroach traps where they can go in, but they can't come out.
We get to see more and more teamwork as time goes on. Now, immediately, you could see these first ants just kind of thought this was a normal desert as they were walking through it. But quickly, I brought out my mini sandstorm fan.
Here we
and I
go.
started to blow. Immediately, the ants started to feel the wind pressure pushing
Bro, these ants can never have just a normal, chill day. They gotta be hit with the most craziest natural disasters possible.
back, and were suddenly not able to walk forward. Some even lost their grip and got pushed back a bit. And as more ants entered the desert, you could tell the sandstorm was keeping them all stuck to the left side of this enclosure.
Yo, this little mini fan is fire for replicating a sandstorm. But no, this is where it gets interesting, because now that they know a sandstorm is brewing, how are they going to figure out how to get to these seeds? Well, let's see.
While most ants kept trying to just walk forward and getting blown back, interestingly enough, many of the ants were gathering up in this back area here near the sticks. And many of them were actually starting to climb onto the sticks. You see, the fan doesn't really blow ants back if they're walking on sticks, since there's just so much of a better grip on there. But yeah, the second they climb off and stand in the sand again, they'll get blown back, as you can see. But the ants were starting to learn that they needed to stay on the sticks. So many
they gotta stick together
and march towards the right side where all the seeds were located. In fact, this ant was making it dangerously close to the seeds using the
he's
stick
cooking.
Well, he was able to make it to the little rock canyon and almost was there to the seeds.
Oh my gosh, this ant climbing right now is a beast.
That dude is a legend.
Max speed on him, and he is just stuck to this rock.
And as I let my guard down for literally 1 second, this dude made a dash for the seeds, literally running straight towards it.
Okay, so he's a super ant. He's literally a super ant. He's the Captain America of ants. Like, bro.
Yo, this ant is crazy. I didn't even have time to blow him back when he got up into this area.
Since the ants passed a disaster, I gathered them all up and put them back in.
Yeah, he's gonna be a legend in the ant community for a while.
They start to take down into the nest over the next 5 minutes.
But ants, I'm not gonna lie, this natural disaster was kind of easy to pass. If we really want to learn about how ants survive, well, we gotta go to our third natural disaster, a flood.
Yup, and as you can see, I built another custom tank where the flood is going to be.
So are we sure no ants are going to be harmed in this one? Like, are we sure?
Getting simulated. I know there's no water yet, but you'll see how quickly that changes. For now, all you gotta know is if the ants make it all the way to this leaf ball, they'll once again get rewarded with tons more seeds.
These ants have no idea what's about to hit them. Let's connect this tubing so these guys can start walking in.
Quickly, the ants started to make their way in. But before the ants had any time at all to take in their surroundings, I had to activate the flood.
So to make the flood happen, I gotta go down here to this little bucket, plug it in, and then out the end of this tube. Oh yeah, water. Oh shoot, water's coming out. Okay, I just gotta.
You're gonna flood your house pretty soon, bro.
Over there. Oh, okay. There we go.
Similar to real life, floods will block off paths for ants while they're trying to travel, so this is exactly what that recreates. And the ants are gonna have to find a way to pass these gaps using the objects I've provided for them. As you can tell, the ants in here immediately were a little confused on what to do. Many were gathering up near the water edge, inspecting what the heck just happened. Some even fell into the water, but
alright, bro. At this point, that should be survival of the fittest. Like, we gotta thin the herd of those dumb guys a little bit. Like, those dumb guys are not gonna make it, bro.
Any ant that falls in, I'll be rescuing and bringing back to the start. So
he's a nice guy.
But also, many of the ants were actually sort of gathering around the objects I had placed in. And as I left my camera recording, I was extremely amazed at what I saw happen. Out of nowhere, this feather started to slightly move. And as I kept watching, it slowly started nudging around more and more. There must have been an ant underneath, and this ant was genuinely moving the feather closer and closer to the water until literally like magic, it was moved almost entirely in, and an ant crawled out right from underneath as soon as that happened. Dang, this guy must have been helping move it.
Yo, these ants
that dude's a bodybuilder.
Insane. Dude. I don't know what ant just moved this feather into the water, but dang, I mean, let's just see what they do.
It took a couple minutes, but eventually a couple more workers started to step onto the feather and started to walk across it to, of course, make it to our second platform. Now, unfortunately, the ants got to do the same exact thing here. Sorry, guys, I know you already did it once, but to my surprise, the ants literally wasted no time to start gathering around these feathers.
The way they're working together so well
it took a couple
really
hours,
cool.
Eventually, my camera caught this same exact thing happening. The feather slowly inched towards the water until, well, it had made a bridge across almost.
Let's go, ants. Now, I did help them a little bit by just moving the feather up onto this platform, but for the most part, they actually were moving those.
And yep, it didn't.
How much did you help them? I guess, bro. I guess. Is this fake news? I don't know.
Take long till our first worker stepped onto the final platform and climbed up into the leaf dish to claim their seeds.
Nice.
All right,
Got the nice little treat
little
action.
ant, and here is your guys' reward.
Nice.
Guys, if you want even better food, you're gonna have to complete this next natural disaster.
You're gonna give him a burger? Bro.
Which is a blizzard. And guys, this is gonna be
A
happening
blizzard?
in the nest. Be prepared.
Yup, this blizzard will be taking place inside of the ant nest, so we could study how ants handle the cold in the wild.
Now, obviously, I can't just go and dump a ton of snow on them. That would totally freeze them all. Instead, I've actually got some ice cubes, which I'm gonna go and just plop on this. Which, as you can see, this makes a nice little makeshift snow that on my laser thermometer is approximately -Celsius degrees.
I started by sprinkling a super tiny amount of this ice on the ant nest to see how they'd initially react. And interestingly, well, not even a single ant cared at all. Yeah, this ice just melted completely into the sand. Since the ants weren't affected by that, I decided to up the amount of ice I put in, which should give us a reaction to how ants handle the cold in the wild. And this time, the ants were actually a bit more interested in the ice, with some of them even crawling on top of them. But the most fascinating thing I had noticed was how much the ants had started to slow down their movement since the start.
Wait, they're getting cold.
Fine still, but if you look very closely, these ants, for the most part, have slowed down so much.
Wow.
I mean, look at how slowly some of them are moving.
Yup, this is one of ants' special abilities. Because in the winter, when it starts to snow and the temperature drops drastically, the ants are basically biologically built to start moving slower. That way, they can conserve as much energy as possible and go hide deeper underground.
So yeah, in the wild, they would dig even deeper and all the ants would relocate to under the nest. I don't want to put any ants at risk, so I'm going to very carefully take out all the pieces of ice so this place will warm back up to the proper temperature.
And once the tank was warmed back up, I'd say the ants are now ready for their final natural disaster. Which
here we go.
This time is a zombie apocalypse.
And I'm
How is that? How are you gonna simulate that, bro? Like, what? Zombies?
not gonna lie, this is probably gonna be the most interesting to watch because I've got 3 different types of insects that, in a way, is going to represent a zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
now, our first insect prey is, well, zombie grasshoppers. Yes, these are grasshoppers that Petco sells that are literally like half decomposing and meant for feeding animals. And I'll be bringing them back to life and moving it in front of the ants to see what.
You're gonna do what now? Since when can we do that?
They do.
And to make the ant swarm this even more, I'm gonna dip some of it in this brown sugar water. And yeah, this is gonna make it super tasty. Without further ado, let's get this in here.
Now, immediately after dipping this in the nest, I started to do a really good, accurate job of moving this around to act like it was alive. And I think the ants were falling for it. Because you can see, they quickly started to climb all over.
There's no way.
If you also look closely, the ants were actually grabbing onto this thing with their insanely strong mandibles, and they were injecting their venomous stingers into it. Which is kind of unnecessary. This thing is already long gone, but I guess I'm just doing such a good job moving it around.
Yeah,
I think it's actually a real zombie grasshopper.
Maybe they're not as smart as I thought, bro.
Hey, you guys are doing a good job attacking this. I'm just gonna leave that in there for you while I get this second insect ready.
And yeah, they start to absolutely devour this grasshopper. But anyways, our second insect food is this. They're called wax worms, and they're a staple food for ants because of how squishy they are.
But yeah, they just look so weird. So that's why I'm putting them in the zombie apocalypse section of the video. Let's go ahead and add these guys in.
I decided to put this first wax worm on top of where all the ants were still located around that grasshopper. And well, the ants almost instantly recognized the prey, and amazingly, they knew exactly what to do. And they took this dude straight down into the tunnel system where it wouldn't even stand a chance to fight
There's
back.
no way. They're ganging up on him, bro.
And now this worm is literally nowhere to be seen. It's probably in the tunnel system. Dang, that's actually kind of impressive, ants.
So I dropped the other 2 wax worms.
That's pretty wild.
And once again, one of them instantly got pulled down into the tunnel system to get
Bro, they're
eaten,
getting
and this
sucked
one
up
started
in
to
there.
get swarmed. After the ants had a good grasp of it, they literally brought it over to these hills in the back, which eventually the worm was then brought down one of the holes on that hill. It's so cool, because if you guys didn't even realize, the ants have turned these hills at the back into an extra place for more tunnels on the back. We can literally see the worm down under these tunnels as the ants get their protein from eating it.
Wow, amazing job,
That's
ants.
crazy.
Our final zombie apocalypse food is flightless fruit flies. But I'm gonna be dumping so many on the ants.
What now?
Like a proper zombie apocalypse movie with how many zombies there there are, even though, yeah, these are zombies.
Yeah, these are flightless fruit flies, and if you didn't already know what they are, well, they're flies that can't fly. It's always so funny to me.
How does that even exist? No, like, what's even the point of a fly that can't fly? That just defeats the purpose of the entire name of the insect. Like, what?
To say this in videos, because seriously, like how
flightless
fly
fly
that can't fly?
Yeah.
Come on,
Okay, anyways,
What
I
is
got
that?
100 of these flies, as you can see. So let's dump this zombie apocalypse on these ants. Oh yeah.
Now, as you can probably imagine, dumping this much prey on the ants activates their predator instincts a lot. Because instantly, so many of the ants started to become way more frantic. They started to run around like crazy to try and catch these
Nah, that's
flies.
like a
Now,
buffet
it's
for
pretty
them.
obvious the
That's an
ants aren't
absolute
struggling with
buffet.
eating these flies because they're literally so much smaller. And quickly, I started to notice lots of the ants with these little flies in their mandibles. Yeah, I bet these are tasty.
Well,
Yeah.
ants, you've literally survived floods, earthquakes, and so much more. So I'm gonna move these guys back to their proper nest where it has all the right stuff. But
Nice.
quickly, I have amazing news for those of you who love the channel. The Terra Green plushies are back in stock, baby.
Good video,
Yeah,
bro. It's really cool to see how smart they are and how they are able to overcome obstacles in their way and work together, unlike humans, obviously. Humans are way smarter, but somehow we're so dumb when it comes to working together. Excellent video by Terra Green, as always. He makes such good content. Make sure you go support him and subscribe to him. And maybe drop us a little subscription to me, too, to see more reaction content. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay frosty.